She was the silent Deathworlder in class until an army fell to her alone Sci-Fi HFY read it.
Right. So our mission here is to unpack what went down at this Galactic Academy of Intricacies Relations. We need to look at the initial setup, the shock of this Krell attack.
And crucially, the role of this human student, Elaine, totally unexpected from the sounds of it.
Absolutely pivotal.
What really jumps out right at the start of this transcript is the feel of the place. This academy, it's supposed to be this melting pot, right? Galactic learning hub.
Yeah, diversity and all that.
But even there, you've got these, well, biases, instinctive reactions. Elaine, the human, comes from a death world, and boom, she's marked, seen as potentially dangerous.
That label, silent Deathworlder, it says a lot, doesn't it? The transcript suggests it wasn't like active dislike from the other students.
More like
this gut feeling, this recognition of her as an apex predator. Professor Torlak apparently observed this, saw her being quiet, taking loads of notes.
But totally alone, isolated.
Makes you wonder about that silence, doesn't it? Is it just her personality? Or is there something else going on there?
That's a really good point. Is she deliberately quiet because she knows how she's perceived, trying to navigate that? Or maybe it's just different how humans process being around so many alien species.
And that early chat between Professor Torlak and Dean Voss, it's telling.
Yeah, the dean's standing firm on, no discrimination based on species, which is good, obviously.
Right, but there's this underlying question hanging there. Do different species, integrate differently? Is it even possible for everyone to mesh in the same way?
It's not just about being in the same building, is it? It's deeper than that.
Definitely. What does real integration actually mean? Is it just showing up? Or does it need more understanding, more adaptation, maybe different kinds for different species?
Okay, so that's the backdrop. But then everything gets turned upside down. The Krell Dominion attacks.
Completely out of the blue. Luminita Prime, where the Academy is, was neutral ground, a symbol of peace, supposedly.
2,000 years, the transcript says. No conflict, then bang.
Just shattered. It makes you think about how secure those places really are, doesn't it?
Yeah, the fragility of it all. And the timing. Midday meal. Students all gathered in the grand hall. It suggests the Krell were pretty confident.
Oh, yeah. Walk in, take over. Easy peasy.
And the energy shields just failed instantly. Shows the force involved. This wasn't a minor incident. It was a full-on invasion.
Calculated. So while all this is happening, the students are panicking in the grand hall. Where's Elaine?
Okay, get this. She's in the gymnasium, working out.
Which the transcript describes as basically torture to other species. Hilarious, but telling.
Right. It immediately sets her apart again. Everyone else is eating, socializing. She's doing this intense, solitary physical thing.
What does that suggest? Her priorities. Maybe she's just more aware of potential dangers.
It definitely plays into that Deathworlder idea, doesn't it? While everyone's relaxing, she's pushing limits.
Then the Academy-wide emergency alert goes out. Panic everywhere.
But Elaine's reaction, fascinating. She doesn't run for the safe rooms like everyone else.
No, she moves purposefully, deliberately, towards her own quarters.
That suggests she's thinking clearly, right? Maybe even has a plan. Or at least trusts her own instincts over the standard procedure.
A different kind of threat assessment, for sure. And then there's the detail about the case in her room.
Yes, the cultural artifacts from Earth, officially.
But the transcript sort of hints. Maybe not just cultural artifacts.
Yeah, you have to wonder what kind of cultural artifacts would be useful right then. Probably not tawdry.
Exactly. Raises a flag. Now let's switch perspective. General Vrex, the Krell commander. His report shows just how badly they miscalculated.
They were expecting, what, academics? Students from non-combat species? Basically soft targets?
Pretty much. Secure the main building, grab hostages in the hall. Minimal resistance expected. The archives were just a secondary thing for them.
Their whole plan was based on a completely wrong idea of who they were up against.
Totally. Focused on buildings, numbers, didn't factor in the individual. And that's where it starts to unravel for them.
The turning point.
Loss of contact with Krell Units 7 and 8. Just silence.
And you can almost feel Vrex getting uneasy, that primal fear the transcript mentions.
It's subtle at first, but it's there. He orders the perimeter secured. Why that specific fear, do you think? Just the silence?
It's got to be the type of silence, maybe. Not hearing a firefight, just nothing. Suggests something fast, efficient, lethal.
Meanwhile, you've got Professor Torlak and these terrified students huddled in the xenobiology lab safe room.
That poor Nari student. And Torlak explaining the Krell mindset. Strength is everything. Academic stuff, that's weakness to them.
Crucial context. It shows why they dismissed the Academy threat level.
Yeah.
They just didn't value what the Academy represented.
They operate on a totally different wavelength. Power has to be obvious, overt. Elaine's quietness, the whole idea of learning, just didn't register as dangerous.
And that scene outside the safe room door, really well described. Heavy boots approaching.
The lock mechanism glowing. Then sounds of a fight, a struggle.
A heavy thud. And then just silence again.
Builds incredible tension, doesn't it? You're braced for the door to burst open and Krell soldiers to pour in.
But then the door does open. And it's Elaine.
Whoa!
Yeah.
The transformation, it's stark.
Academy uniform gone. She's in this practical black outfit, form-fitting.
And the blood spatter on her face, her hands, jarring contrast to the quiet girl from class.
But her expression, her demeanor, described as calm, almost detached. It's a total 180.
This visual shift is huge. It's like she shed the student identity completely. Something else emerged.
And her instructions to Torlak. So direct, so authoritative.
Lead everyone to the underwater research lab. Secured.
Yeah.
Off the Krell sweep patterns. How does she even know that?
Well, here's the thing. She had been monitoring Krell communication.
Get out! How?
Using a device she apparently stripped from a soldier she took down. Resourceful doesn't even cover it.
Okay, wow. So she wasn't just reacting, she was actively gathering intel. Proactive.
Exactly. Her goals were clear. Protect people, yes, but also get data from the secure archives. Strategic thinking on multiple levels.
You can just imagine Professor Torlak's shock. This quiet student is suddenly moving with lethal precision, giving orders with absolute authority.
The whole dynamic flipped. What do you think is the most stunning part of that reveal for Torlak?
It's how wrong all their assumptions were. The person they barely noticed, maybe even pitied or felt wary of, is now the one holding everything together, making life or death calls calmly.
And her answer, when Torlak is basically speechless, wondering what she's going to do.
What I was trained to do, save everyone. So simple, so chilling almost.
Yeah, it hints at this whole other life, this training, that nobody there knew anything about.
A hidden past. And what happens next is, well, it's bad news for the Krell.
It becomes like a horror movie for them.
Yeah.
Units just go silent. Soldiers disappear. Security cameras mysteriously fail.
An invisible enemy picking them off one by one. You can track General Rekka's fear just ratcheting up with every report.
It's the unknown, isn't it? Way scarier than a fight you can see.
And then the intel officer finally figures it out. The threat. The human. One human.
Almost comical understatement. Rex can barely believe it at first. A Deathworlder? Okay, but one. How much damage could one being do?
Big mistake. Huge. Complete failure of intel, of understanding. They were blinded by their own prejudices about species.
Their whole worldview couldn't compute it.
Yeah.
Which leads to that final showdown, Rex cornered in the comm center.
Weapon raised, still dismissive even then. You're just one being. It sums up their entire fatal error.
And Elaine's reply.
Perfect. Just perfect. Yes, but I'm a human being. Simple, powerful, says everything. Resilience, adaptability. Maybe that Deathworlder toughness.
It completely reframes his dismissal. So, the aftermath. Alliance forces arrive.
Find what? The Academy intact. Everyone's safe.
Everyone's safe. 40 Krell soldiers. Neutralized. By one student. It's legendary stuff.
And Elaine. Back in her standard uniform. Warrior gone, student back. Almost.
Dean Voss asks about her background, finally. And her reply is just so understated.
You never asked. And I came here to learn, not to fight. Shows it was a conscious choice, keeping that part of herself hidden.
But she does explain why she acted. When the time came, I did what humans do. We protect.
Powerful line, framing it as a core human drive, at least in this narrative. A sense of responsibility.
And the impact on the Academy afterwards. Massive.
No more whispers, no more fear around Elaine. Just understanding, respect, deep respect.
She stays quiet, apparently, but now people seek her out, want to learn from her.
So the lesson learned by the Academy, maybe by the Krell survivors, maybe the wider galaxy,
is that the most capable person, the most dangerous even, might be the one who doesn't advertise it. Doesn't need to prove it all the time.
So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for you listening to this unfold?
For me, it's definitely about that hidden potential. How someone who seems, I don't know, ordinary, unassuming, can just hold these incredible capabilities inside.
That aha moment where your first impression gets completely blown away.
Yeah. We saw a peaceful place attacked, A silent student revealed to have this hidden depth and this unbelievable feat, one person defeating an army. It challenges how we judge people, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Which brings us to our final thought for you, the listener. Consider the people around you, the ones you might overlook or underestimate.
What hidden strengths, what untapped potential might be there? What assumptions are we making just based on the surface?
What incredible stories might we be missing? Something to think about.